Hallo zusammen, I'm your vlog Dave. So to be honest, I don't know if I'm the only one with this problem. Back when I was a kid, when I was still very young, I mean, I'm not that old yet, but you know, I misheard some German words. Like constantly. Until a few years ago, like quite recently, when I noticed, well, I got them wrong the whole time. Let's talk about 3 misheard German words. Oh boy. Number 1. Already pretty hilarious. Muskeltiere. This isn't a frequently used German term by any means. It's indeed quite specific. But I got that wrong as a kid all the time, pretty much until I became aware of the correct term in my teenage years. I never came up with the idea that Muskeltiere would be wrong because I thought, well, maybe it's just a really muscular animal, you know, like the Ninja Turtles or something like that. Hey, I was young and needed the I was young and still kinda innocent. And please don't get me wrong, and that's actually what this whole video is about. It's not a really existing German word. You know, it's made up. I misheard that. I know it's hilarious, and there are some muscular animals out there. Despite of all that, please,
Muskeltier.
It consists of the actually existing term der Muskel Singular, die Muskeln Plural and das Tier Singular, die Tiere Plural. But as I said, it was only in my final teenage years basically that I realized it's not Muskeltier, it's Musketier without the L in the middle. Das Musketier Singular, die Musketiere Plural. But still, I didn't know what it was actually referring to. The indeed existing German noun das Musketier actually refers to a former military force unit that fought with muskets. Die Muskete Singular, die Musketen Plural. I guess most Germans know about this term in the first place through the popular 1844 novel Die drei Musketiere, the 3 Musketeers. It's about D'Artagnan and his 3 friends, the Musketeers. Oh yeah. But seriously, how could I have known all that as a child, or even as a young teenager? I mean, very young people obviously don't know the term musketeer or muskete yet.
Well, as long as it's not a sophisticated and really smart and culturally really well-read little bastard kid thingy.
So I guess young people rather associate this term with a term they've heard of before and that they know of, which is der Muskel.
Muskeltier?
Number 2. Pfandfrage, or as many Germans would actually verbalize it if it was a really existing term, die Pfandfrage, which is pretty important in this context as well. This was actually the first term that came to my mind when I came up with this video idea in the first place. Truth be told, the most embarrassing fact about this one is that it wasn't until a few years ago that I actually realized, well, it's actually not Pfandfrage or Pfandfrage, but Fangfrage. The catch question. Die Pfandfrage, although it would make a really interesting and somewhat cool noun, would mean something like the pledgequestion or the pawnquestion. It contains the really existing term das Pfand. Now, the kinda interesting thing about this one is that, although I got it wrong for many years, I can actually see reasons for that, and that leads back to how I introduced this second example. Do you remember?
Number 2. Pfandfrage, or as many Germans would actually verbalize it if it was a really existing term, die Pfandfrage.
In some German words you have the affricate PF, which is a fixed and recurring combination of 2 distinct consonants. You can find this affrikative, that's the German linguistic technical term for that, in words like das Pferd, the horse. And the other day I actually included a more extreme example of that affricate in a different video.
Der Pfropfen.
A lot of Germans tend to pronounce this pf like a simple f sound. So many Germans rather say das Pferd instead of das Pferd. However, especially to a kid who has never heard of Fangfrage before, Pfand and Fang can sound kinda similar, especially when someone mumbles Fangfrage. And also considering that Fangfrage is rather used in spoken than in written German, it's truly not that hard to get that wrong in the first place. I mean, come on. Another problem that might lead to confusion might be that the G in Fangfrage, when Germans usually say it, is kinda dropped, it's kinda quiet. This is actually typical for many German words. And number 3, lamsam. Here, the correct German term would be langsam, slow. And actually this third example didn't happen to me, but it happened to a friend of mine, a YouTube friend of mine called Superflashcrash. It's the guy from Berlin I made the Berlinerisch dialect video with.
Ich komme aus Berlin.
Funny enough, he also told me that he also misheard Muskeltiere when he was a kid, so that actually shows I'm not the only one. No. So I really want to know, have you experienced something similar in your language? Thanks for watching, check out the video description with social media and support options such as PayPal for little donations and the Patreon crowdfunding website, which really helps this channel a lot. I'm your Vlog Dave, tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.